Hello, I'm John Naylor from Deja Vu magazine. And I know, what am I doing standing in front of another Xpeng vehicle? And of course, those of you who saw my review of the Xpeng G6 last year, where I took it for a drive around the Yunnan province, know that I really disliked this vehicle and I found it had some serious shortcomings. Anyway, in that time, of course, the Xpeng Mona 03 has been released, and the press and the specs and the YouTubers have all somewhat been impressive. So I thought I'd give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a drive this past week in the Sichuan province. Now, before I get into what I hate and what I really hate about the vehicle, let's take a little bit of a look around inside. But in summary, this vehicle's a real disappointment. And of course, I think that's a really bad thing for the EV industry as a whole. But anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. So the styling of this vehicle is very much being a sedan, but why on earth? It's actually a hatchback. And so anytime you make a sedan into a hatchback, it's going to lose space in the back. And that's while there's ample space in the back, a Tesla Model Y, for instance, has got a whole lot of luggage space in a true SUV's form. Now, there's more to this in terms of problems as it being a sedan. Because they've done these traditional lines and this A-pillar that just recesses so far back to make this car look so swishy, as you step into the vehicle, and this is with the seat pushed back. It electrically moves back and forth. As we step in, we've got to watch out for this A-pillar because it's really low. And I've had to, even though I'm only 170 centimeters tall, I've had to really duck in underneath this spot here. And there's been on more than one occasion that I've actually hit my head, and my partner has done likewise on the passenger side, and she's only 160 centimeters with the seat pushed all the way back. So those A-pillars are quite the drama. Now, while we're here, let's also talk about charging. So this vehicle has actually picked up a little bit of pace and is now doing 60 kilowatt charging here on a charging pile that are quoting and saying that they're capable of doing 600 watt charging. So we're only getting 1/10 of the performance of this charger network that we've actually plugged into. Now, being the latest and greatest and in terms of battery technology, charging technologies from Xpeng, we'd expect that this vehicle would adapt, particularly a Chinese vehicle into a Chinese charger should adapt and be performing a whole lot better than this. So for mine, another point of disappointment is that we've now looking at up around about an hour that we've got to wait here. And that's at the same time that the supercharger network is doing amazing things with Teslas, and BYD have announced 1,000 kilowatt charging or more. So that's another thing for mine. That's just a real shortcoming of this vehicle. You've probably seen the Mona 03 in other videos in all its glamour and nice and clean. Now, after a week on the road, you see that we've actually got quite a significant amount of insect strikes on this bold and proud nose here. You've probably also seen how this system here opens up and ventilates the batteries if necessary. The color, however, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw this vehicle initially, I thought, yeah, that's not for me. Is it pink? Is it beige? Is it just muddy water? I don't know. What would you call that in terms of the color palette? Let me know in the comments. Now, another thing that Xpeng think that they've done something great with and trying to emulate Tesla is, of course, these door handles. But I think compared to, say, something like the BYD Seal and other BYD vehicles where the handles recess into the vehicle and pop out in their entirety when you want to use them, Xpeng, of course, have elected for this rather awkward mode here where you have to thumb into here and then pull the handle out here. So it doesn't really work. And there's innumerable times on this trip where I've actually had to reach over and open the door as my partner just didn't really understood how to do the door opening procedure. It's not obvious, and that's, of course, not a good thing. What's more is, so as I said at the start of the video, one of the things that I want to do in terms of the Xpeng and this Mona is test out its ability and see whether self-driving has improved. And as we see here, I've had to interrupt this car and actually turn through this turn there. This vehicle is very weak on auto steering, and given the opportunity here to do it, it's taken over. Let's see if it wants to go around that corner. No, it did not. It gave up. This vehicle's self-steering, self-driving is just atrocious. And another thing that I really dislike, and it's a schoolboy error, and there's a reason why the majority of dashboards and cars slope upwards towards the glass and they're black. is because that's about reflecting the sun back out through the glass in a way that doesn't interrupt your vision. As you can see here as we go through these sunny sections, and it's not amazingly clear, but it's a good high sun clear day, and it's just always getting in your face that this windscreen is so difficult to look through. In this vehicle, that's very much the copy or knockoff of a cheapo Tesla. We see that the type and style of the controls are very similar to what you'd expect in a Tesla experience. So is this a cheaper version of a Tesla to take on? No, I would go for something else, honestly. As you've already heard with my rant, I'm not really pleased with this vehicle at all. Anyway, here we've actually got our speed control. So rolling that up is going to give us an extra 5. Rolling it down gives us a less 5. We also can push this left and right, which adjust our distance from the vehicle in front. Incidentally, and it's complicating to see this action, if I'm disengaged from the autopilot, this actually roller becomes a fan sensor or fan speed optimization. So you roll it up while you're not in cruise, and the fans will start blowing harder or less, which is a real nuisance actually. Now we've mentioned also in this video that this is actually an eye tracking sensor. It's also nice to see the actual vents are visible on this vehicle. Can't move them at all, but in my case I'm about to put a phone holder on there so to put my phone and wireless charging into a better situation. Now how about this display? This singles display is a real problem because there's just not enough information can be shown on here at any given time. And there's some serious deficiencies, like for instance, here where we've got some sort of destination set, it's giving us no clue about what our state of charge is going to be when we get there. Nothing here in this display, and nothing here when we actually tap on our charge and say, what's going on with this vehicle? It's saying nothing about what the state of charge is going to be when we reach our destination, which leaves us with a few doubts about what's going to happen when we get there. What's more, as I go to indicate, and you'll see that the vehicle overlay here, an actual, well, firstly an indicator to put my hands on the wheel, so that's overlaid on one. I press indicator again, I'm getting a camera showing me what's out the side of the vehicle as well. All those things being overlaid shows a serious deficiency in terms of the single display in this, as optimized in this vehicle, because it's just too much information trying to be displayed over itself. I've also in terms of the AI in this vehicle, seems to be deficient as well. My Chinese speaking partner has talked to this vehicle a couple of times, and it's really not getting at the sense of it. Even though she's taking her time and speaking to it as politely as she can, it doesn't know destinations, and it can't tell you simple things whether you ask it or whether you try and look through the menus. There's nowhere here that seems to show you what the outside temperature is. So what are you going to do in sub-zero temperatures when you're about to step out of the vehicle or concerned about icy conditions on the road? You just can't tell. So there you have it. There's some serious deficiencies in terms of what's happening in terms of the driver and display package here, that I think just leaves this vehicle sadly lacking in yet another way. So if there is any saving grace whatsoever for the Xpeng Mona 03, it's this experience. Its ability to just stay in the lane on a highway. Maybe this is the ideal cheapo reps car of the future, the Camry that's put under the wheels of the chocolate salesman or the cigarette rep or whoever they are that's got to cruise the countryside and go see people. It actually does this part relatively simple. And as I take my hands off the wheel now, I can do that for about 10 seconds before it kicks in and says, no, you should have your hands on the wheel. Noting also that here we do actually have an eye tracking sensor. So if I look away, I should actually get an actual alert to say you're not looking. But actually, funny enough, in this occasion, even though I'm genuinely looking out the window right now, the vehicle is just on with the job. Oh, there we go. It's noticed at last. Well done, car. So I've been a little bit unfair, because there is some redeeming things about this vehicle. Like for instance, the Snapdragon high-speed processor that drives the central screen is quite quick. And this display that shows lane-by-lane selections is really functional. One thing must be commented on in terms of sensing and proximity is, while this thing's supposed to have a really fast processor, I found it somewhat lacking when actually a vehicle cut in front of you, or when you actually went into a tight nook and cranny between two vehicles while parking or maneuvering. It actually took a genuine second to 2 seconds before it saw those nooks and crannies or that incoming vehicle and gave you any sort of warning. So I don't know, there's just something not quite right with the sensing package and the radar package in this vehicle. So how about the ranking? You would already be guessing that I think that the Xpeng Mona 03 is pretty bad compared to other vehicles that I've tested. But how bad is it? Let's skip my top picks. I love the Zeekr 001, the Xiaomi SU7, the Zeekr X, the MG Cyberstar, and even the lackluster BYD Seal is not a bad drive. I have videos about each of these and welcome you to go check out why I think these are obviously better than the Mona 03. So Xpeng G6 then. Well, at least it's a genuine hatchback / SUV with the space and lines to match. Tesla Model Y. Never mind the risk of hostility and vandalism, if you leave it at the curb, that is. I guess you can always claim you purchased it before Elon started his high-fiving with Hitler. I'd take that risk and have a car that is frankly far superior and safer than the Mona 03. Same goes for the Tesla Model 3. Though it's a sedan, well, at least its self-steering can go around corners. Budget for spray paint removal and give me the Model 3. So there you have it. Xpeng Mona 3. One of the newest cars in China, and it's the worst that I've ever tested. This has been John Naylor for Deja Vu magazine. I have plenty of other EV and Chinese related content with suggestions appearing on the screen now. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.